Dominic Beck, I'm Archbishop. We got Mike Ball, Aaron Olinger. What's up, everybody? Glad you're able to tune in. Um, we got another interesting topic, a bunch of events that's happening actually while we're speak right now. It's a lot of things going on. Seem like every week we get on here is a little bit more, and a little bit more, a little bit more. So we been trying to dive into a lot of this stuff. Is so much stuff that went on in the past week. Um, Dealing with not only this topic, but um, the passing of Senator Lindsey Graham. We still got the thing going on with the senator from Kentucky, Mitch McConnell. It's it's a lot of stuff that's going on right now. So we're going to try to dip into a little bit of everything and um, and see what we come up with. Before we get started, everybody hit that like button. That way we can get this on the proper algorithm and get this to the right people that can watch. So since Wednesday, the 8th, Biden has expanded from attacks on ships in the Strait of Hormuz to American strikes throughout southern Iran. Now, these Iranian attacks directed at locations in Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, and Jordan, and a renewed blockade and the threats for further escalation. Now, Israel remains part of this larger conflict, but the most direct confrontation during this time, in particular, is strictly between the U.S. and Iran. So we're going to separate the confirmed events from the government claims and the propaganda and social media reports that have been popping out. There's a lot of that stuff going on too. But the Middle East may be standing closer to a much larger war than many of us may realize. Iran has attacked locations in countries that host American forces, and the U.S. has responded by launching repeated waves of attacks against Iranian military infrastructure. Iran has, Iran has responded by launching missiles, drones towards countries where American facilities are located. So now Washington has reinstated the blockade against Iran, while Tehran continues to insist that the Strait of Hormuz will operate under Iranian conditions, not American ones. And that means this is no longer simply a disagreement about the nuclear program. Nobody's even talking about that anymore. It's now a fight over military deterrence, commercial shipping, regional sovereignty, and also the biggest thing right now is oil exports. American bases and control of the world most strategically um, this important energy corridor that we've talked about for many weeks as to why that strait is so important. Um, so we're going to start from I'm going to start from the 8th, and we're going to kind of go up a little bit. I'm going to go up so far, and I'm going to let Mike kick in because he got the other half, and we're gonna jump in and basically give you a breakdown as to what has transpired since our last show. So that way that gets everybody on track to what's went on and where we're at right now. So the U.S. Launched another major wave of attacks inside of Iran, accusing Tehran of attacking three commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. This is on July the 8th. Now, CENTCOM also said that the purpose was to reduce Iranian ability to threaten freedom of navigation. And reports placed attacks near several southern Iran locations: uh, Chabahar, Bushehr, Konarak, and several other locations that had military installations. Now, the Iranian state media, on the other hand, reported that 8 members of their Iranian military were killed in American strikes on July. And they also launched drones toward Bahrain, Kuwait, both of the most important military, American military installations. Kuwait reported intercepting incoming weapons while arms and explosions were in that region. So on the 9th, Iran said it attacked American military related targets across several countries, including Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, and Jordan. Iran also claimed that these targets included major air defense systems in Kuwait and early warning installation in Qatar and fuel facilities in Bahrain.
Now, I don't want you to talk too much further because your microphone's like totally out. We can barely hear you right now. I'm not sure why. But
Really?
just that you know. Yeah. Oh, now I can hear you. Yeah, it's weird. Sorry.
Yeah. How about now?
Sounds good.
Okay. Um, so, like I said, these were Iranian claims, and the exact level of damage to these facilities have not been actually released. So no one knows exactly how much damage that was actually inflicted on these areas. But the United States said that these strikes had expanded approximately um, 90 Iranian military targets that they went after on the 9th. On the 10th of July, the confrontation returned repeatedly to the Strait of Hormuz. Iran warned vessels against traveling through the routes it considered unauthorized, which we've talked about that several times. And a civilian container ship was damaged, and at least one crew member was reported missing after that attack. The U.S. launched additional strikes near uh, Bandar and Abbas and also Sakurt. These forces also used unarmed surface vehicles, sea drones to strike a submarine and ship maintenance facility in Bindar. And Sitcom described it as a first American combat use of a particular sea drone in that system. They were also talking about um, a commercial ship that was basically sunk um, out in the Strait of Hormuz. They It was one of the ships that they were saying that took the took the U.S. route that they had been talking about. Um, and if you show it on that map you just popped up there, Mike, um, kind of put your cursor like where the U.S. part would be.
So
It's
you
not
mean where we're holding off right now?
right.
Our blockade is right here. So
Hmm.
it's really hard for me to. So basically, from this little point right here to the end over here by Sohar or whatever, it's somewhere
Hmm.
in this area. But
Right.
yeah,
So
our
they had
blockade's
initial
there, and their blockade's right up here.
right,
So
right. So the U.S. had basically made a route that these commercial ships could go to and not have to go all the way up to the route that Iran wanted everyone to go to. That you could actually go around that and come down. And several of those vessels have been struck. One of these vessels, I got a quick picture here, kind of shows what happened. As you can see, this vessel here was like completely sunk
yeah,
from
that's not a good look.
right from an actual missile strike. Um, there was also um, some of the missile strikes that Iran was claiming that they had done. Some of the pictures I'm getting ready to show here, they're like before and after pictures. So the one that would be on your left is the before, and of course you see the strike that's circled right there as to what the what the drone actually hit. Here's another one here for you to look at. This is a facility that was in Jordan that was housing some fighter jets inside, and you see the damage on that one as well. And I have one more here that was in Bahrain, and this you can see what it looked like before, and you can see where it was actually hit at on the after part. So these are some of the ones that they are putting out as some of these strikes that they have been hitting. And there's been several videos and stuff that's been coming out that's been showing these drone strikes, which a lot of them has been at night. Um, and I seen one video yesterday where it showed, I think this was Jordan, where there were drone strikes and they were actually trying to intercept them, and they were missing like badly, and was still getting hit. So I went through the 8th to the 10th. So Mike, you can go ahead and pick it up on the 11th.
Sure. So I'm also going to share my screen so I have, full transparency of the sources that I'm using here. But nonetheless, so what I have for the last 5 days, July 11th, U.S. coalition strikes, multiple airstrikes against Iranian military targets in southern Iran. Now, you're going to hear a lot of that same rhetoric in the regards to basically every day. There is some notable differences between the days, but not extreme. We have coastal missile batteries targeted near the Strait of Hormuz on the 11th. Iranian drone launch sites were struck, and I believe that most of our strikes as well have been going towards big military stuff, whether it be their drones, their batteries, their whatever. Let's see here. Air defense systems hit around Bandar Abbas, which we were showing you guys. That's that main port right there in the choke of the strait. And then the Iranian response on July 11th was missile and drone attacks towards U.S. facilities in Bahrain, drone attacks against military facilities in Kuwait, and continued attacks on commercial shipping around the Strait of Hormuz. Now, as you guys can see, Central Command was the first source on that. The Associated Press was the second one on that. Then we have July 12th, U.S. coalition and strikes continue. Follow-up strikes on missile launchers, radar sites, logistics facilities supporting Iranian naval forces. Additional strikes on islands controlling traffic through the strait. Now, there's lots of islands within the strait. And those little 4 that are kind of in that area by Qasem and all of that island and all that stuff, that is the area that is being targeted. Let's see here. Then the Iranian response on July 12th was additional drone launches towards the Gulf states, which is basically the same rhetoric we're seeing, day in and day out. More harassment of oil tankers and commercial shipping coming out from Al Jazeera. Then July 13th, U.S. coalition strikes continue. Precision strikes against IRGC military facilities, weapon depots, as well as coastal defense positions. Continued effort to degrade Iranian anti-ship capability. Now, kind of like what AB was talking about earlier, is that we're seeing a lot of these strikes happen during the night, and then we see Iran basically retaliating during the day, and that's going to be an important note here for today. But let me get through the 14th first, or actually the 13th. Their response was missile launches towards Bahrain, missile launches towards Kuwait, and additional drone attacks aimed at Gulf military installations coming out from Al Jazeera. Then we have the 14th, continued strikes, third consecutive day of major strikes, military sites near the Strait of Hormuz targeted, as well as missile infrastructure hit. Coastal defense systems were also destroyed. Then the Iranian response was UAE flagged oil tankers were attacked, as well as missile and drone attacks against Bahrain and Kuwait. Threats to close Middle East energy exports. Then today, obviously the blockade was implemented yesterday at 4 p.m. Eastern, our time, or 4 or 5, something like that, 4 p.m. Anyways, but it officially kind of got, today was the day where it officially went into effect, kind of thing. No longer the staging system, now the actual implementation of it. So 5th straight day of airstrikes. Targets included Iranian army barracks, as well as missile sites, maritime military infrastructure, additional military facilities around southern Iran, then naval blockade reimposed around Iranian shipping. And the Iranian response to this was Iran has continued threatening additional retaliation. Officials report continued a capability to launch ballistic missiles, drones, attacks against Gulf shipping. And Iran continues warning Gulf nations against supporting U.S. operations, coming from Reuters, and as well as, there's another one that's being sourced there. But the important thing that I was going to say about the day strikes and the night strikes is this morning was the first morning that the United States in the 5-day or the 7-day timetable that we're giving you guys here, that we struck during the day. So we did all night kind of thing. We let up for like an hour, 2 hours, and then we came right back in and struck them again. So, and went throughout this morning. So that's usually Iran's time to retaliate. So United States was like, well, you're not going to be able to retaliate today, you know? So, but I mean, they are going to, but that's what they were trying.
And I'd like to add 2 points to that. As of today, UAE used F-15s to strike Iran. So I guess they're tired of being shot at. Saudi Arabia launched both cruise missile as well as airstrikes from some of their air force today against Iran. And I'm hearing rumors that a third front may be opening up, that Saudi Arabia may be entering this war against Iran. So I think that's interesting right there. Plus, I want to make a point here that this goes beyond just the flow of oil. Basically, the BRIC alliance, utilizing mostly China and Iran, they made a move against the US dollar to try to help the BRIC alliance and China. Any ship sailing through the strait that pays Iran's fee of $2 million, they have to pay that by using Chinese yuan, not American dollars. If you got no yuan, no pass. So some of those ships don't have but American dollars on them. And Trump shut the whole thing down with that blockade. He said if countries like China want to keep their economy going, then oil must be bought in dollars, which brings back the petrodollar agreement. Trump also said that he doesn't care if the strait reopens because the U.S. has become the seller of last resort. So Iran basically thought they was going to build a new world using the Chinese money instead of the American dollar. But Iran thought that they could strong arm the planet with the guidance of China into this program. But Trump's blockade has basically made it fall apart. I'll stop there.
Now, they also, there was also a U.S. Aircraft that fired Hellfire missiles into the smokestack of a tanker today. Actually, after it was,
I did not know that.
I didn't either.
After it allegedly ignored warnings while sailing towards Karg Island, and that
wow, all the way up in the north part of it. Yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm. And that tanker was disabled and stopped. Then there was also another thing that's also developing right now is that a Latin drone was shot down near the U.S. consulate in Iraq, and the Iraqi security sources said that the drone fell near the consulate. No confirmed casualties or significant damage has been reported. But yes, there was an actual, would have been an actual drone strike in Iraq going after the consulate there. So there's still there's still stuff going on. I have something right here that I'm looking at that as stuff is breaking, it pops up.
It's happening minute by minute. It is like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So CENTCOM description of this tanker incident was their official U.S. account just basically said that they had given out several warnings to this tanker for it to stop and to change course, and it chose to keep going, and so they ended up having to fire on it. But they said that was the first.
That's because they were taking our route, though.
Right.
That's why, right? Yeah.
So that was the first. That was the first tanker that the U.S. has actually had to fire upon. So we still got.
Oh, the United States fired on it?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I thought you were
yeah.
talking
The
about
U.S.
the
fired on
Iranian
it.
side. Okay, so that's interesting. So they were taking the Iranians. That's what I'm guessing then is
Yeah,
because they
but
were taking their
right, they
route.
were right. They were trying to stop them, and
Oh,
they kept going. So
yeah,
after
because it's usually been that same story, but on the opposite, where
right,
they're taking our lane, and then Iran is going, "Hey, you need to, there's no way you can go through there. We're gonna fire upon you." And that's been the rhetoric. So that's interesting that the United States actually did conducted some enforcement there. Wow. And it says Steve Easy said they disabled it. Yeah, it's kind of like similar in the beginning of the war when they disabled they disabled actually a handful of tankers, didn't they? Like three of them, two of them, something like that. They like actually shot into the engine room.
mm-hmm,
Crazy.
right, yeah. So some of the things that the U.S. has hit, um, they have missile sites. Those included storage areas, launch facilities, and buildings that was capable of holding like large amounts of ammunition and and also a couple buildings that was housing commercial vessels. Um, they hit drone infrastructure, coastal radar and surveillance systems, naval installations, um, port and military support installations, and also several air defense systems that they've been taken out. Um, there was something that I watched this morning that said that if if this proceeded on to next week, that there would be a high probability that they would go after power stations, like Aaron was talking about last week. Said that that was not out to question if if this did not come to some sort of terms by the end of the week, that would be the next thing is power stations, and also they will continue hitting bridges. So there's a lot of back and forth that's going on right now, and in some things it says that that Iran has actually tried to reach out and talk, but then when you hear it on the other end, they're saying that they're not talking to anyone and that they have no reason to pursue any other talks at this point in time, and that the strait is basically closed. I think yesterday it said that it was only what did it say, 22 vessels that had passed through the strait. Um,
Yeah, I
but
heard originally 10 was the first report that I heard. And then it probably went up from there.
right, but then like that's a low number considering the fact that you used to have
big
thousands
time.
of ships that goes in and out of the strait all the time.
Yes, big time. There's the massive difference. I'm actually going to pull up a marine traffic right now, and actually something that we've done on the show before is just show what a normal strait looks like day in, day out, what it would look like at this second if things were moving. And the amount of ship traffic would be obviously, it's a dramatic difference here. So right now, obviously, everything's held up over here in the strait right this second. Now, the normal shipping route would look like this every single day. This is down there by Yemen, but this is what's happening right this second. So imagine only how many did you say? 22, went through, they probably had 22 went through in the last down here by Yemen. They probably had 22 in the last hour, if not more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this, so then you got the claims of what Iran has actually fired upon um, here in the past few days. So of course you got Bahrain, and it's home. Now Bahrain serves as a big spot. Nobody probably doesn't realize, but that's also the headquarters of the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet.
Mm-hmm.
So Iran has claimed attacks against the fuel and military related facilities in Bahrain. And Bahrain has also activated air defense warnings and reported have been intercepting some of those drone and missile threats that's been coming through. You have Kuwait that hosts thousands of American personnel and a lot of logistic facilities in that area.
They don't have a good job of defending themselves, though. Just got to say.
Right. And Iran has claimed have targeted Patriot air defense systems and other American-linked military infrastructures in that area. Kuwait has also reported intercepting missiles and drones through this renewed escalation that's been going on. So, like you said before, a lot of our stuff has been at nighttime, and then they've been hitting a lot of stuff during the day. Qatar also hosts an air base, and is one of it also has one of the American air installations in the Middle East, one of the biggest air installations in the Middle East. They claim to have hit a lot of military targets in that area as well. A lot of these places, like Qatar, Jordan, the UAE, they all have American military infrastructure there. They all house various things there that Iran has claimed to have hit. Some of them we've actually seen pictures of, which I just showed a little bit ago, but not to how can you put it? They haven't showed any pictures where it showed like massive damage, like the whole base has been destroyed or whatever.
One thing on that is in Bahrain and Kuwait, the government has told their people, I don't care how crazy of a strike just happened right in front of you. Don't be recording any of it and don't be posting it on social media. They know the repercussions for posting those kind of images on social media. That's why you've really seen no big on the ground devastation with Bahrain and Kuwait, because the government has strictly told them, do not post it. Now, of course, are you going to get a video here and there? Of course. But that's why you don't see a lot of it. Mm-hmm. Just an interesting fact.
Right. And then I want to add that the Greater Tomo Island that sits out there in that strait, it's been hit by not only us, but one of the other GCC countries decided to hit it as well to try to help protect the ships from going through there. The rail system that China was using to ship in supplies to Iran, we hit it, took out that rail system and a couple bridges. The one port that Russia was sending stuff to, somebody hit it. I don't know if it was us or the Israelis. So we're isolating.
You're talking up there and by because if you look just geographical, right?
Right.
That's what's interesting about Russia is that they can send basically anything down from this little area right here. The how do you say it? Caspian Sea.
Yeah.
But that little sea area, that's where a lot of these kind of things can actually move through. Right. And instead of it going through the strait down here where chaos is just absolute chaos, Russia can get in touch with Tehran right there. It's just kind of crazy. The geographical layout of Iran, it's just fascinating.
Right. And I didn't know if you guys heard or not today, but Britain made it a crime to support the IRGC. If they find out you're sending money to them, you get 14 years in prison. If they find out you're doing espionage for them, it's life. And then I heard that the U.S. and other allies are getting ready to invoke laws against people supporting the IRGC.
Yeah, that's interesting to say the least.
Right. I mean, so what are you going to do about China and Russia that's been letting them use satellites, giving them information, everything else?
Totally.
You still deal with them. You release sanctions to them, all of that. You know what I mean? Knowing that they stabbing you in the back, but you're still working with them. You know what I mean? So what else more you got to do? Okay, so we can do that, and it's fine. But if I give them a couple of dollars, I'm going to jail.
But also, the Israelis a day ago did hit a few power stations but then suddenly they stopped their attack. But part of that country is now sitting in the dark. But Israel did it because in retaliation to the way they attacked them and was firing at civilian targets. And what brought UAE and Saudi Arabia in is Iran fired on some desalination plants. Now, there's certain GCC countries that import food and water, and then there's some that only import food. And the ones that depend upon their desalination plants to come up with the water for Iran to be hitting those, that's playing dirty pool right there. And what's sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander come next week. They take out your power stations, then go after your desalination plants as well. And then you're going to have a serious humanitarian crisis on your hands if you don't surrender. Trump says surrender is going to be unconditional, but then the IRGC gave Trump 24 hours for him to surrender. So it's going to get interesting.
Real quick, there's one thing that I forgot to mention that happened today. About 15, 20 minutes before we started the live stream, I just happened to blank on it until just the second. There was a police station struck by the United States, actually in Iran, in southern Iran, and I'm going to show you exactly where. See this little inlet here? This little tiny inlet, this little bay, is an area that we've been targeting for the last, 7 days. It's been hit almost every single day. And this area right here is exactly where the police station was struck. So on this right side, I think it was in Tis. But anyways, that was one area that's been located or targeted and shot upon a lot lately. And so that just happened right before we went live.
Mm-hmm. Yesterday there was this message that was circulating around that had supposedly, it was on Iranian state television, and it said that tonight, which would have been last night, that a great surprise would occur that the world would remember for centuries.
Yeah, I saw what you said up there in the title, and I didn't hear that before. So the great surprise, I got to hear what the hell this is.
Well, it was nothing. It didn't happen.
It's a bluff.
Right.
It's a bluff. Yeah.
So they did the broadcast, but there was, as of right now, from what I've been looking up since then, there's nothing showing any kind of evidence showing that that it was what exactly they were going to do. It was like they put this out and they said that it was going to be this great surprise and that it was going to be something that the world would remember forever. You know what I mean? And so you had people that was on there commenting on it, thinking that, okay, they got a nuke, or they going to right,
something. Yeah,
right, or they about to launch something that we didn't know that they had, and this didn't happen. So all you ones that was waiting last night, waiting for something big to go on, it didn't happen. So I just wanted to say it because it was circulating around, and then today, that's all I heard today. About, I wonder what this big surprise was that was going on. There was no surprise. It didn't happen. But also another kickback to this as well is that, there is a diplomatic effort going on between Israel and Lebanon.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the officials that say that they're discussing limited Israeli withdrawal from Lebanon and have the Lebanese army control that area. But Israel will still right. Yeah. Israel will still own that land, but they would
refused.
They would let the Lebanese army come there, and they would basically back out only if Hezbollah agreed to de-weaponize, which they said no, we're not about to do it. So there's I don't even know the reason why they even thought that was even going to be something that they would even consider. You know what I mean? Knowing that, Hezbollah is basically Iran's next go-to. You know what I mean? especially what they have over on that side that they're holding on to the Red Sea over there. So you wouldn't want, they're not going to try to drop down for nothing. You know what I mean? No matter what you offer them. You know what I mean? So then, I mean, if you think about it, the Lebanese army has been after Hezbollah for so long, and they haven't been able to control them.
No,
I mean,
it's like
so what
the
makes them think they're gonna
cartels
do it
in
now?
Mexico. It's like the
Right.
cartel in Mexico. They end up becoming even more powerful than the government. You know, and that's always been kind of the problem with Lebanon in particular, and with Hezbollah, is they really do have some funding. And, you know, of course, they got it from Papa Iran, and then Papa Iran got their money from Daddy Putin. You know what I mean? So it's kind of funny how it all is transferred. But yeah, it's a very bizarre aspect. You know, we watched the ceasefire with Israel and Hezbollah. That happened in 23 or 20? Yeah, I think it was 23 or whatever. And that was the whole mix up. Is they're like, oh, there's a ceasefire, but then there's continued strikes. Well, why is that happening? Oh, because the ceasefire was with the Lebanese government, from Israel's government to their government, but that's not with Hezbollah. Hezbollah is not, I mean, yes, there are a few representatives from Hezbollah that represent in the government in Lebanon, but they're not they really are separate. It's like a activist group that is very violent.
Mm-hmm. What you got, Aaron? I see you.
I'm just saying
right
they've been supplying Hezbollah and training them. Hezbollah has a stronger force than the Lebanese military. That's the reason why Lebanon can't put them out. Now, if they let the Israelis tear them up some more, Lebanon just don't want their country being war torn like it was years ago when Israel pushed the PLO all the way into their capital. I can't think of the name of it. Beirut. And it was the last city that was left, and it's about to push them into the ocean and kill them all. But Russia interdicted and said if Israel didn't back off, they was going to attack them. So Israel had to back off. Then the PLO split up into different factions: Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, different ones, because they couldn't get along with each other. But Hezbollah has a large chunk of Iraq, and they have a very large chunk of Lebanon. And both those militaries are too weak to put them out. The Houthis have a large, pretty good section of Yemen, and the Yemen military isn't strong enough to retake the territory that they're in. Hell, the Houthis even control the capital of Yemen. So these terrorist organizations that happen to have more numbers and they're militarily stronger because of Iran, let Israel loose off the chain. Let them degrade Hezbollah down to nothing, to where the Lebanese military can come in and mop up what's left, and then Israel can pull out. But right now, Lebanon ain't got a strong enough military to take on Hezbollah. They'll get tore up. And that's the reason why they tolerate them.
Now, on that, Aaron, you were talking about how they, the Houthis, they run the capital, they run basically all the livable areas of Yemen. I'm going to be honest.
Right.
If you look at Yemen here, I know it's really hard to see on your guys' phone or screens, but there's a mountainous region that's right here, on the, I guess, the west end of Yemen. And so that is the area that all the Houthis and people that that live there, this is the majority of their people that live in this area, because it is the most developed, the most, the easiest place to live for them. Now, the Houthis outrun the government here. Absolutely. They control all of this, basically. And they did that for a very specific reason, not just because all of this is all developed and all that. They of course, that is a bonus, but truthfully, they took a book out of Iran and knew that this strait right here was going to be absolutely vital. And 47 years ago, when Iran decided, hey, listen, we can shut down listen, missiles grab headlines. Yes, of course, but tanker routes move economies, and they know that. And this is exactly what they're going for, is choke points. And Iran is, I mean, this is exactly the play that Iran planned out 47 years ago, saying if anybody's going to attack us, if it's Israel, that's one thing, we'll deal with it, kind of thing. But if it's the United States, we can absolutely do our biggest play that we can come up with, and it's the choke point right here. Mm-hmm. So they've been waiting to use this against the United States, I mean, literally for almost half a century.
Yeah. And Mike, I sent you a picture, man. See if you can get it so we can use it. Yeah.
See, but how would they actually get around that?
I saw this, by the way, Aaron, and I'm just to say this little aspect is true, but they added Lindsey Graham on the end for total propaganda. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, I know that you know that, but I'm just going to announce that before we put it up.
So, Aaron, let me ask you while he's pulling that picture up. Okay, so based on what Mike was just saying right there about cutting off the strait, and then you have the Houthis on the other side, which could actually cause huge problems dealing with the Red Sea over in Yemen and all that. So you know that on this end here, I'm speaking for the U.S., there's only a certain amount of stuff that you're going to do. Like the strait is already shut. Okay, you're already dealing with that. If you have the Red Sea shut down as well, that shuts down everything over there. So you ain't nothing moving over there at that point.
Right.
So in your opinion, what do you think the best option would be?
Well, I know
this back and forth that we doing right now, or should you actually do a certified progressive strike, knock everything out, and then pick up the pieces later?
I fight to win. I don't fight to negotiate. I take out their water and their power. I've been saying that since day one. And while we were sitting around titty hitting, I never understood that. We ain't won a war since World War II. And I'm tired of the negotiations because of the politics. We ain't won nothing. We got the #1 military in the world, and we can't win against a third world country. That doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, as far as the Houthis go, turn the Saudis loose on them. Saudis were tearing their butts up under Biden. Agree. And Biden stopped them. The money is not flowing. The GCC countries are not making any money. They can't pay their bills to the world. Let them get involved. They got an interest in this. They got a stake in it. Turn Saudis loose on the Houthis and let us finish off Iran with the help of UAE and some of the other GCC and Israel. We can end this once and for all and never have to be here again. But if we negotiate a settlement, we're going to be back here again somewhere down the road.
Real quick, I gotta show. So something interesting about what you just were talking about, Aaron, is Saudi Arabia in particular, with Yemen. Now, one thing that we haven't discussed on here yet, regards to the show yet, is we haven't talked about this one thing. Is Saudi Arabia just struck Yemen's airport, one of their major airports. What was that? 2 days ago?
Yeah.
2 days ago. But nonetheless, I have the footage right here, and I'm going to show you guys what we're looking at. This is Saudi Arabia that 2 days ago hit in Yemen.
These images show airstrikes on Yemen's Sana'a airport, which is currently under the control of the Houthis. The rebels blame Yemen's internationally recognized government and Saudi Arabia for the hits. The strikes aim to stop this Iranian plane from landing. It was returning from Tehran, having taken a Houthi delegation to the funeral of Ayatollah.
Yes, it had some very, very important people on this particular flight.
Ali Khamenei.
If I'm not mistaken, that's in Houthi-controlled territory, too.
To persuade the Iranian regime and the Houthi rebels in Sana'a to come to their senses and refrain from violating Yemeni airspace with Iranian aircraft. This violation is not the first of its kind. Our patience has run out.
The Houthis say they responded by targeting an airport in the south of Saudi Arabia, and the rebel group has warned airlines to avoid Saudi airspace.
the Saudi enemy through its reckless decision to launch what was an unjust attack on Sana'a International
Now, if
Airport.
you guys don't know who this is the spokesperson for the Houthis. Kind of like what was his name for Hamas? I forget his name, that he died kind of somewhat recent, but he was the big spokesperson for Hamas. This is the same kind of thing with the Houthis.
Bears full responsibility for this aggression, which serves the interests of the US-Israeli enemy and its grave consequences.
Pro-Houthi supporters took to the streets to call for action against the Saudis.
We came out today to tell the leader of the Houthis, strike with an iron fist. The Yemeni people are behind you. We are your support. We are your strength. We are your weapon.
In 2014,
Anyways, so that's enough of that. At least it's just interesting watching the Saudis and the Houthis in particular, because everyone's going to be talking about Iran and the United States and Israel and even Hezbollah up there in Yemen and even Iraq. But the Houthis are kind of something that should be talked about even more, because they're the ones that could actually do more damage on the defensive of this war, which is shutting down their strait, right? Again, being able to enforce shutting down a strait is much easier than enforcing to make it stay open, right? So you can just sit there and give a threat and give 1 or 2 ships an example with drones or whatever. So it costs you 30, 60 grand to do it. But guess what? Now all the insurance companies are going, yeah, don't move that ship. You got the ship owners are calling their captains going, do not move that ship. It's very easy to make that happen just off of a threat.
Mm-hmm.
Enforcing it to stay open is way harder.
Mm-hmm. But you also have to think about the economic crunch that this strait being closed is gonna bring about.
Of course, big time.
Like what you were saying earlier, Aaron, that Trump said that he didn't mind the strait being shut because we shipping out oil on our end, which is fine, but we're also taking a hit too on our end, because we're shipping out this oil. We're not keeping any oil, and right now we're like sitting at roughly 16 million barrels in Oklahoma. That's technically tank bottom. You know what I mean? So if you're not replenishing what we've already used, because they dipped into those reserves to keep the prices down to where they are now. That's the reason why the prices are what they are now. It's because they dipped into the Federal Reserve in order to do that. But you have strained that reserve down to where you're considered as operational tank bottom. You have to be able to restore that. You know what I mean? And right now, from your actual crude price to your refinery price is roughly about a $68 to $70 difference. So for instance, let me see, I think oil was up like almost 80 today. Could have been just a tad higher than that. But it was 80 this morning when I looked at it. And then you add, that's the crude price per barrel. Then you got to add another $68 to $70. That's the refinery cost.
Right. Once it's refined.
Correct. Right. And then you also have to break that down too, because that's broke down into 3 parts. Because
crude oil is just baseline. That's where it starts.
Right. So then you have to make gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel.
Yep.
So you got those 3 right there, which those prices change as well, on top of the 68 to 70 refinery costs. Mm-hmm. So what you don't want is for your crude price and that refinery price to match up. That's what you don't want. So that shoot your gas up well over $5-6 a gallon in some areas. You know what I mean? California, hell, that might be $12. You know?
Yeah, no kidding. The average may go to like 6, something like that. But then you've got certain areas like California that sure, it could go up to $10. I could totally see that.
Mhm.
You know, I
Well-
mean, while I lived in Southern California for 29 years, when I left, it was during Biden. And of course, the state's way of taxing gas is terrible. And that's actually the majority of the problem. It's not federal, it's actually state. But nonetheless, it was $7. It was like $7.20 for a gallon when I left California.
And then I'm gonna say, look at countries that are running out. Look at Australia right now. As of this week, they're rationing diesel. The military is going to get first preference. And then with them rationing diesel, you have to understand semi trucks and trains run on diesel. If it's being rationed, transportation is slowing down to a crawl. Products are not moving. That's going to drive up the cost of everything that's still out there. So that's the reason why I keep telling people to prep ahead, because
Yes.
when things start to slow down, it's too late to go out there and get those resources, because you're not going to be able to find them. And if you do, you're going to be paying a lot of money. Like after some of them hurricanes, bottled water's $100 a container.
Supply and
Between-
demand, man.
Yeah. So, do you want to pay $100 or do you want to pay $4 now and get 10 cases ahead?
See, real quick, Aaron, one thing that I want to point out is just on the water aspect, because people are way understocked for water for their families. I mean, super amazingly understocked that like they can't even survive 3 days.
Nope.
Right. So, it's interesting because what I do personally is every single time I go to the grocery store, or go shopping or whatever, I don't care if I'm meant to go grocery shopping, quote unquote. Doesn't matter. If I go to a store, I'm buying a case of water. I just buy one. It's the stacker's mentality, right?
Right.
So I don't need to spend $70 on water. I go there and I buy one case extra, even though I didn't need it. I grab it, boom. It cost me what, $4 or $5 to grab that thing, and just for me to stock up. That's easy. That's a great way to. It's a stacker's mentality. It doesn't have to be all bought at the exact same time. You gotta space these things out and kind of plan ahead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Don't you have something over there, Aaron, that you was gonna show that was dealing with water?
Well, yeah, but I wanted to show that photo first before we go into that, if that's okay.
Oh yeah, I've got it.
Okay.
I've got it for
Okay.
you right here.
Okay. This is the kill list that Iranians have advertised, that they're going to try to kill these people. So their cell groups know they got a green light on any one of these people. They are targets of opportunity. And I'm sure some of those Arab guys have to be leaders of certain countries. And seeing that you can drop missiles in on them or whatever, I'd be pretty irate if I was them that they'd have me on a kill list. But as you can see, the last person, it's like Mike said earlier, he was added for propaganda, and that was Lindsey Graham.
And then they even made the claim that they took him out.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Well, I'm gonna give you an example of how they could have, because I'm not ruling it out.
Sure, I hear you.
Because some of the news said they didn't know if Iran did it or if the Russians did it. But go ahead and take that down for a minute. And
Because they haven't got a toxicology report yet back.
right.
Right.
But
we
I'm
are waiting on. Yeah.
I'm explaining how that may come back negative and why it will come back negative. Back in the 60s and 70s, first in the 60s when we invented it, and then we modified it in the 70s, the CIA had a assassination tech called non-discernible microbial inoculator. And that's the name that was given to the CIA's infamous heart attack gun. It was designed in 1960s, modified in the 70s as part of Project MK Naomi. This covert assassination weapon utilized silent, imperceptible, which means impossible to perceive. So when you get hit by it, you're not even going to feel it. Darts to inject lethal toxins into a target without leaving a trace. The mechanism was modified and its battery-operated handgun. It's equipped with a telescopic sight capable of firing silently. The ammo, it fires a microscopic, often frozen dart that carried a highly potent paralytic agent called Savatoxin. It's a shellfish-derived neurotoxin. How it works? It says upon impact, the dart would instantly melt into the bloodstream. It left behind nothing but a tiny puncture mark resembling a mosquito bite. The intended outcome, the toxin triggered rapid cardiac failure because the agent broke down rapidly. It was virtually undetectable in a standard autopsy, causing death to appear as a natural heart attack. Currently, it is believed that Russia and Iran has their own version of this weapon, but just more modernized. So,
So it's
CNN,
a heart attack
right,
gun or blow dart, whatever you
right.
want to call it, right?
And it's
Like
shooting a microscopic dart at you. You don't even feel it when you get hit.
so I mean, it's kind of like when a mosquito actually does get you. It's designed for you to not even feel it.
Right.
Wow.
And we've had this since the 60s or 70s. Now we're at 2026. I'm sure there's something
How
much better
advanced.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah, imagine how advanced we are now.
So when people quickly rule and they say, well, yeah, he had a sudden heart attack, and they say, well, there's no way Iran could have got him. I just showed you that's totally possible.
Look,
And he wouldn't even known it.
Jason says that seriously sounds like some 007 type shit. It absolutely does.
Hey, I'm going to tell Jason this. Look it up. The CIA, the leader of CIA, presented it to the Congress in 1970, in the 70s, and he showed that it was a weapon that they've been using since the 60s. So some of these people having these heart attacks suddenly, there was a reason for it.
Interesting.
Yeah, but there's been several people that they have talked about throughout the years that had, mysteriously passed away, and they think that they had been poisoned or whatever. A lot of take like Russia, for instance, you had a lot of people that was actually running against Vladimir Putin, ended up gone. Kim Jong-il's brother, they said that happened to, that he was stuck by something, he was poisoned. There's been numerous people throughout the years that have
Or just random death.
seriously,
And then it was
popped
heart
up
attack.
Right, and it was all deemed as being heart attacks. Yeah, so that's going on for a long time. I mean, it was usually heart attacks or mysterious auto accidents, or they got hit by cars, and
Totally.
different stuff like that.
They would normally never get hit at or whatever. They do the analysis of how this person got struck. Totally. I totally understand that.
Yeah, so we could, and then like he was one of Ukraine's biggest supporters, number one, and he was actually over in Ukraine talking to them about trying to get those sanctions back in and trying to put heavy sanctions back on Russia. But then you also know that he was a huge warmonger. He wanted Iran wiped off the map. You know what I mean? So, and he didn't hide his feelings towards that. He said it numerous times.
We talking about Lindsey Graham?
Yes, and he said it numerous times to anybody that wanted to listen that he wanted them out of here. So, when you first listen to it, does it seem far-fetched? Sure. You know what I mean? But if you actually go through and actually know about a lot of stuff that they do and a lot of the sneaky ways that they, get rid of people, don't sound too far-fetched at all.
Real quick on that. One thing that I found interesting always, like kind of one thing that fascinated probably all of us, but with like a subconscious level, is Lindsey Graham is a senator. That's what he was. He was representing his state in D.C., South Carolina in particular. And that man was like a secret. He was like a secret Secretary of State. If you ever saw what he was doing, he was always talking about anything on the external level. He really wasn't known for talking about his internal politics. He was known for talking about the international level. And I find that interesting because he was used in a way kind of like where Marco Rubio is supposed to be doing that. It was interesting watching him go to Ukraine, him go to Israel a million times, him go to, all these different countries, whatever, on an international level. And he was very against Iran and was to the level of, hey, we need to wipe them out. So, anyways, Aaron, I want you to take it away.
Okay. Is it okay for me to go ahead and start about my? Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What I want to talk about today is water preservation, and water. Everything on Earth needs water. Plants, animals, people. I mean, that's the most under stored thing that there is. People will have a fully stocked food pantry and won't have but one case of water, like Mike said earlier. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Now, if you have a 55-gallon drum and you try to fill it up, it's not going to be portable. It weighs 456 pounds. A 30-gallon container weighs 249 pounds. A 15-gallon container weighs 124 pounds. Now, you go to Walmart, you can buy the little 6-gallon container. It weighs 50 pounds. Especially if you're elderly, that is just not portable for you to grab and go with if you have to bug out. What I'm going to show you is something called a water brick. Okay. This is a water brick, 3.5 gallons, weighs 29 pounds when you have it full of water. You can get these off of Amazon if you want to. The more of them you buy, the better the price break you get. If you buy 8 of them, they're going to run you $149. That's about $18.62 a piece. You buy more, the price goes down. Very portable. 29 pounds, you can pick this up and move it room to room or to your car or whatever. A 55-gallon drum, not so portable. What I like about them is, you see here, lengthwise, they're 18 inches. Across, they're 9 inches. On the side, they're 6 inches. So these fit real well underneath your bed. You can just stick them, slide them in. And you can have your bed as your your storage for your water. You can put food in these, dry products with oxygen absorbers, spaghetti, rice, beans, different things of that nature, grits. This helps you to store it, keeps direct sunlight off, put oxygen absorbers in there, keeps air out so bug eggs can't hatch. Then what is also nice about them is they're stackable. The way they're formed, they stack up. You can stack these 4 or 5 high in the bottom of a closet.
It's like a big Lego.
Yeah, and that's what it feels like too. I mean, I could take them instead of putting them that way. I can stack them.
Oh shit!
Every upper layer.
That's hilarious. It's a total Lincoln log
Like that,
over here.
yeah.
Right.
Great.
You can have them going down a wall. If you got a TV and it's sitting catty corner, behind it could be your water storage if you're stacking up water bricks. Now, the water brick itself, it comes with, and it'll be inside the container, it comes with the handle that you can use to carry it with. What it doesn't come with is the spout. So I do advise you to buy the water spout. You screw the lid off, and then that screws right on, and you can be able to siphon the water out without having to turn them upside down and pour them out. They're BPA free. So again, that means you can store food and water in them. Now, they also have, got it here, it has a 3.5-inch mouth. Now, I've got big hands. I can almost stick my hand down in there, which makes it easy to pour sugar, rice, oatmeal, different things of that nature. If push comes to shove and you got no ammo cans, these can also double as ammo storage.
Oh, that's a good freaking idea.
But once you use them for ammo, you can't use them for water or food no more.
Yeah,
so.
no, you never touch that for water source again.
Now, the lid itself, and you can see it on this, it has a wax ring. that goes around it. That gives it a watertight seal that you don't have to worry about it leaking water. Let me see. I already said this accessory kit. Now, the thing that I want to recommend you buy with this is this Aquamare water treatment.
Oh, W. Yep.
Okay. Because if you're storing water long term, and let me show this, the Aquamare water treatment comes in a 1 ounce and a 2 ounce container. Inside the container, you have a part B and a part A chemicals. They're very inert, no damage to anything. If you have, say, a Pepsi liter bottle with a liter of water in it, you can take this little cap off, put 8 drops of one in, 8 drops of the other in, shake it a little bit, set it down, let it sit for about 5 or 10 minutes. When it starts to turn yellow, you pour it in to your container. That's going to kill all the bacteria and pathogens that you got in the water. Now, whatever water source you're using, if that water source has chemicals like gasoline or oil floating in it, you don't want to take that water because these chemicals are not going to do nothing with that.
That's actually good that you clarify something like that, because some people may go the extent where they think I can just take my lake water or whatever, and it's like, no, it doesn't do that.
Now, if you're going to fill these up, what I'd recommend, if you're getting it out of a lake or stream, put some sort of t-shirt or bandana over that and hold it under the water and let that bandana pull out some of the floaters and dirt and silt that might be floating in the water, especially after a rainstorm when the water's rushing. You don't want that dirt to get down in your water storage containers. So put a bandana over that, hold it there. It's going to take longer to fill up, but the water that will be in there will be clean. And then it's just a matter of killing the pathogens that are in the water. Now, again, if you got a 55-gallon drum, the 1 ounce, well, let me go back. If you got a 30-gallon drum, the 1 ounce container will do 30 gallons. If you have a 55-gallon drum, the 2 ounce container would do 55 gallons. So you could do a whole 55-gallon drum. And then if you have one of those 5-gallon picnic style water things, you can still got enough left over to do that. So you can do a 55-gallon drum and a 5-gallon water storage container with the 2 ounce kit. You're going to be looking at, for the 1 ounce, you're going to be looking at between $15 to $17. On the 2 ounce, you're going to be looking somewhere around $24, $25.
Question.
Go ahead.
Real quick.
Mm-hmm.
How long does this actually save your, like, let's say I have a multiple water sources,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to just maintain that water source, right?
Okay.
So I'm putting it and I'm adding it, do I add it one time and it's good now for 6 months, 3 months?
5 years.
5 years. So
go on YouTube and look
Wow.
up Aquamare water treatment, and they'll have different videos, but the one that comes from the company claims 5 years.
Damn.
I've gone as far as 4, and what I was looking for is at the end of 4 was their film starting to form like algae on top of the water.
Oh, so you actually tested this?
Yeah, it might even be clear, but I went 4 years. I didn't go a whole 5, but for the 4 years, it was pretty clear.
Damn.
Still. So
yeah, that's impressive.
I can speak up to 4 years. I can't speak up to 5.
Yeah, but even that is incredible. I didn't think it would be anywhere close to that. And so then, I mean, obviously, if I'm trying to maintain this water source, I'm probably not going to actually wait 4 or 5 years to cure it again. Obviously, I'll probably cure it. If it's something like that, maybe I'll cure it once a year or just to be safe every 6 months. But what's that cost me? $17?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's a very good idea.
So utilizing the water bricks with the Aquamare water treatment, you'll be able to kill pathogens, you'll be able to make water safe to drink, and you'll be able to store water long term. And I think that's a worthwhile investment. It's a minimal investment, but you're going to burn a lot of water. When you consider that you use water for cooking, washing dishes, washing clothes, bathing, drinking itself, washing your body with, you go through multiple gallons a day.
Cleaning
though-
dishes.
Yeah, even though the CDC and them tells you 1 gallon of water per person per day. In the summertime, you're going to burn more water than what you will in the wintertime. 1 gallon, you could get by on it, but I mean, it'll be rough. It'll be a struggle. I'll put it like that. So the more you can put back, the better off you're going to be. Even flushing the toilet, every time you flush the toilet, that's 3 to 5 gallons of water that's pouring out. So you got to take your sanitation. You got to take everything in consideration and put back a serious amount of water. You can't skip. And with that, I'll stop.
There you go. Appreciate that, Aaron.
Mhm.
It's crazy how we have to talk about this, but we talk about this because it's actual real reason for us talking about it, because it can actually happen. It can definitely happen. And right now, there's a lot of places around the country right now that's complaining of water shortages. Over in Texas, Utah, Colorado.
In our own nation, let alone
Right.
the world. Right.
Right. They're talking about certain hydroelectric dams is going to be shutting down because they don't have enough water to actually keep them running. You got the whole thing dealing with these data centers and the amount of water that they're sucking up. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. You know what I mean? So some people may think that what we're talking about right here was like, oh, this is just something that is kind of far fetched. We may not need it, but you have to
Nowhere
pay
close
attention
to
to some of
far-fetched.
this stuff that's going on. It's not far fetched at all.
No.
It's right here, and it's in your face. And a lot of you, especially in some of these areas like Texas and Colorado, Utah, Nevada, it's going to come to you quicker than you think. So, but yeah, Aaron, I appreciate you for showing that stuff, and we have him to bring up something once a week, so that way it just kind of gets everybody prepared. You know, you can get it, not get it, look at it, see if you can find another way to do it, whatever. You know what I mean? But this is actual stuff that you need to actually have. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
That's right.
So, but we're gonna shut this show down for the evening, ladies and gentlemen. But tonight we showed you a couple different things. We showed you what has happened, what each government claims happened, and what still has not been verified. Iran has demonstrated that American forces have been able to not only bomb but infiltrate a lot of their areas, and they have also claimed to have done the same to a lot of our military structures as well. But either side, it seems like that neither side has actually determined how they're going to end this confrontation and if it's actually going to end. So we went from the MOU to now we're back fighting again, and it's changing daily. Every hour there's something different, something new. You wake up in the morning, there's something new, and the first thing that you think is okay, what's next? But on this side, where you wake up and you don't have to worry about missiles and bombs floating over your head, and you're thinking that you have it made. Technically, you don't, because a lot of things is happening over here as well. These prices are rising, gas prices rising, food prices are rising. Everything that's you would normally use oil for, oil products, oil-based stuff, everything is shooting up. These farmers are not getting the fertilizers that they need. So when the crop yields come out this year, they're going to be short. There's a lot of things that's going to escalate, and it's going to affect you. It's going to affect me. It's going to affect everybody who has to deal with life itself. You know what I mean? So, so we put this stuff out to not only give you a little insight as to what's going on, but to also give you an opportunity an opportunity to think different, be different, prepare for yourself, prepare for your family. Um, because as I said before, you'd rather have it and need it than not need it, than need it and not have it. Or it shoots up to $25, $30 a case for water like it did just here a couple of years ago here in Florida when we had Hurricane Milton come through.
Damn, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
what it shot up to. There, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What'd you say? 22?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was like 25 in
Wow.
some places. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Everybody
I mean,
went and cleared it out quick.
that's proof. That's proof
Right.
right there. I mean, supply and demand, man.
Right. So a lot of this stuff that we talk about is beneficial. You know what I mean? And if you don't know how to do it, now's the time to figure it out. You know what I mean? Now's the time to get some of this stuff. Play around with it, see what it does, see what it's capable of doing. You know what I mean? So don't wait until the time comes and then try to use it. I mean, take that little bit of free time that you're not doing anything on the weekend and get some of this stuff and just play with it. You know what I mean? See what it does. You know, and like I said, we're gonna shut it out. I appreciate you all. Appreciate all the love you showed. Appreciate you coming on here every week. Don't forget to hit that like button. That way we can keep this out there on the right algorithm. We're trying to build this program not for money, but to be able to reach as many people as we can possibly reach. To be able not only to share the story, but to be able to keep telling the truth. And that's what this world is lacking these days. It's the truth. So I'll see you all in 7 days. Go ahead, Mike.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank you guys enough. Obviously, we can't do this shit without you guys. Much love, honor, respect to everybody. Make sure you guys, again, hit that like button, double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side on either side. And listen, can't thank you guys again. We'll see you guys here in 7 days. Much love.